The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is the prequel to the Hunger Games trilogy. Unlike the trilogy, which enlightened me in my childhood to the world of dystopian fiction, this book says really nothing. When I mean say nothing, I really mean nothing. When reading the book, I expected the same science fiction and YA dystopia that I got with the trilogy, but instead all I got was really just the science fiction. I feel like this is the case for three main reasons: who the main character is, the relationship between the characters, and the lack of direction. Beware of spoilers ahead. Who is the main character of this prequel? Hey Mitch? Any of the victors from Catching Fire? No. It is President Snow, or at the time of this prequel, Corio. In this prequel, I saw a different side of him, which is to be expected since he is only 18 at this time. The way this prequel is structured is that it is a coming-of-age story. More on that later. At the beginning of the book, and throughout a majority of it, he is a sympathetic character who is a snob, but is also deeply empathetic. This would work if it was not for the fact that Corio would eventually become President Snow. So what happens is a foregone conclusion, where this empathy is eventually thrown out towards the end. College tried to build this up through his interactions with Dr. Gall, yet I feel that this was done too fast and not enough. It led to the abrupt end of that side of his personality, and kind of the end of Corio, which this should be good in theory since this is a prequel, but it is not good. It would have been good if instead there was still a bit of Corio in him that is suppressed. A little bit of nuance would have been there for a reread of the Hunger Games. Now, here is the moment everyone was waiting for. This is the moment that I talk about at the start of the novel. No, not Corio, but the girl from District 12. No, again, not that girl from District 12. She was not born yet. I'm talking about Lucy Gray. This tribute from District 12 is one of the two major relationships that are explored in this prequel. Lucy Gray is first introduced in a fun and weird way at the Reaping, which was good. Throughout the novel, she was a nice counterbalance to Corio, where he was serious and calculating, she was happy and easygoing. Eventually, though, Corio kind of got this Stockholm Syndrome relationship with her that kind of became creepy to me. This relationship ends badly, with a showdown to the death. When I got to this part, I was shocked, but I was also confused. One moment they are in love, and then literally without any real build-up, they hate each other. The reason given for this is never explained sufficiently, and it was stated to be about Serjanus, but this is not possible in the context is played out. This brings me to the second most important relationship in the novel, Corio's relationship with Serjanus. The district kid turned capital kid was an unexpected relationship for him. Before I can discuss their relationship, I must briefly discuss my problem with Serjanus. He is extremely naive, and there is no redemption for this. What I mean by this is that a lot of the characters, but not all, are made to be a little naive, but there is a little redemption for them. This happens to make Corio seem like the smartest in the room. Serjanus is this phenomenon taken to an extreme. Everything he does is done without thinking of any consequences, which is, I guess, okay when he is innocent in prep school, but when he graduates and is an adult, albeit a young adult, him not thinking about the consequences is just unbelievable naivety. What ends up happening is that Corio saves him a few times from his naivety and eventually lets him die from it. Do I think this is a betrayal? Yes, but how this betrayal happens to affect the other relationships is what continues to confuse me and pesters me the most. How did Lucy Gray find out about this betrayal? This is never explained well, and that hurts this book. When thinking about how these relationships progressed, I thought of them through the context of a coming-of-age story. This brings me to the lack of direction, with this being the prequel to a famous dystopian trilogy. Some expected this to be in the same mold. While this is debated, It is impossible to say that the prequel will not be a little influenced from its source material. What is for certain is that the sci-fi elements are still there. What is uncertain is whether this is a coming-of-age story or a dystopian fiction story. The original trilogy was both of these things. Katniss wanted to take down her unjust society, but also grew into a symbol of the rebellion. In this prequel, Corio grows into what will become President Snow. He does not, although sometimes it may seem like he might fight the government. So one would think this is a coming-of-age story. Yet there are also moments in the book typical of a dystopian fiction, like great shows of force by the government. There are also has to be taken into consideration the fact that this is from Corio's point of view. Although he may not say it, it would seem to him, at least by the end of it, it is utopia. This lack of direction is damaging not only to this prequel, but also to the original trilogy. This is because it damages the message of the original trilogy. Was the original really about the political dystopian message about class, or was it just politics sprinkled on top of science fiction? I came into this novel not expecting to finish it with these conflicting feelings. Yes, I knew this was going to be about a young President Snow. I don't think that meant that it was inevitably going to come out like this. That being said, I still love the trilogy, and the prequel is not bad, even though it has a few problems. I would recommend you read it if you are feeling nostalgic about the original trilogy. Hey all, please like and subscribe and stay tuned for more videos. I am always looking for good book recommendations. If you want to leave those in the comments, feel free.